Hello guys, welcome back to one more video. Today I want to talk about something that came out on the news today. I don't know if many people know about, but I thought to make another video about it. If you follow my channel or if you have seen some of my videos, I'm pretty much just talk about all the hauls, all the comics that I buy, everything is Silver Age and whatnot. I talk about some books that I also buy, like books, reviews. I do some spotlights on them. And I also have some I have brought in some of the DVDs and Blu-rays that I buy. So anyways, everything has been mild for what my take is. I never dig too deep into the what is now the politics on the comic books, just because I don't want to. It's just a big of a mess, and I really don't want to be involved in that. However, what happened today just decided me to make this small video about it. I mean, the last time I spoke something about what's going on in the current book industry is 2 weeks ago, when I made a video about New Comic Book Day and how crappy it was and how poorly and bad stories we found, and how you go to a comic book store in a New Comic Book Day, you walk around for 10-15 minutes and you come out with nothing, or with some books that I just buy just because I don't want to come out empty-handed. But anyways, today the news was about the DC Walmart specials, and it was about a reprint of 2 stories that came out in Superman. I believe it was number 9 and 10, but I don't know the volume. But the stories was, I don't know if it was written, but it was drawn by Michael Turner. Now, for those who don't know Michael Turner, it's because, well, he passed away early on his age. He was a super successful comic book artist in the early 2000s and during the 2000s. I can't remember what was his last work, but he passed away, unfortunately, pretty young. But his art was amazing. It was very detailed. It was incredible. He was very stylish, especially when it comes to drawing women. And I really enjoy his art, everything. There are some great books about him. Witchblade, it's probably the most known book for him. He has also Fathom, which is still being published, same as Witchblade. And then later in his career, he did a lot of covers for DC, covers for Marvel, a few stories here and there he was drawing. And one of those was that Superman, $2 of Superman. And then what they did in these reprints is they basically modify the butt of Wonder Woman and another character woman that I can't remember the name. The butt cheeks, they modify with Photoshop just to make them, I don't know. I really don't know what they were thinking about how to make them. Some people say, oh, it's because they were women and they were entitled for children and whatnot. The reality is, the bottom line is, if you don't like the original art, don't do anything about it. If you think about publishing again, then respect the drawings and respect the story that the artist left. Don't touch it. Don't modify it, especially for something so stupid. I mean, really, if you think that it's too sex appealing, or I don't know how to really come up with a proper name is, for young kids, then just put some restrictions on it. Let's say it's for mature readers, and so be it. Let it done. However, they did this already with the story of Lee Bermejo and Brian Azzarello in Batman Damned. They basically came out, there was a shot of Batman penis. Yes, penis is a word, and it's not an insult. It's not a bad word. I'm not bad mouthing. That's the medical term for the male reproduction system. Penis. So they came out with a picture of the penis, which to me, there was no problem with it. I think it was well introduced in the story, and there was no reason for all that outrage that people had. It was, oh my god, Batman penis, oh my god. It was like, so what? I mean, really? You go and see people watch porn movies. They go and see frontals of actors and actresses in different movies, and that is okay. But when somebody draws in a book which was intended for mature readers, specifically stated for that, everybody's outraged. And I was like, come on, people, grow up a little. I mean, respect the drawings. Imagine if people just walks around in the museums and start painting bras and underwear for all the male and all the women from all those Renaissance or whatever they call it, paintings and sculptures that they are. Whether people likes it or not, that's art and that's history. And you gotta respect the artist. You don't have to like it. You don't have to see it. You don't have to buy it if you don't like. If you think it's something, it's for mature readers or just for younger adults or adults, then just put an F and then that's it. No problem. So I don't see what's a big deal on that. And this also reminds me of, there was a day when Deadpool, I think Deadpool 2 was out there in the theater. And me and my wife, we were two little girls, and we were gonna watch a movie. I can't remember what it was. And then it's an R-rated movie, so most of the movie theaters didn't let small kids go watch the movie of Deadpool. My kids didn't watch it until the PG-13 came out, and even that, it was always under our supervision, and that has always been. If they're going to go and they're going to buy a comic book, whenever they ask me for a comic book, whenever they ask me for the book, anything, it's always under my supervision or my wife's supervision. If they're watching a video in YouTube or on the TV, we always have to know what they're watching. If it's something that we think is not appropriate, we turn it off or we switch it. Same thing with this. If you think the story, for whatever reason, is not appropriate for young children, don't publish it. Don't publish it, or if you try to publish it, then just say, hey, you know what, it's for younger readers, mature readers, and it's up to your discretion. Don't blame the artist, don't blame the editorial, blame the parents who lack the common sense of verifying the stuff that the kids have to read. And bottom line is, come on, when I was a kid, I went to some newspaper stands, and they will sell me Playboy when it was overly for 18 years old. And I mean, that was no problem. I'm not some crazy man or whatever. But the reality is, I think, coming back, I'm deviating a little bit of what I wanted to talk about, is basically, if you don't like it, if you think people are not going to like it, or you think that they want you to modify the original content or the original art, please just say, hey, you know what, I think then in that case, this is not the story. Respect the artist, respect who made that job, especially someone who has passed away and unfortunately can say anything about what they done to his art. So respect that. I think what's happening, what we're seeing right now, I mean, I'm not a comic book historian, and my memory is not really that great. But if you ask me, we're looking at the third down of the comic book industry. We're looking at what history has repeated in the past, and we know that history repeats itself. And it's the third down or the third fall of the comic book industry. To me, the first fall was with the release of The Seduction of the Innocent. With the release of that book, there was a witch hunt for comic books. There was a creation of the Comic Book Authority, and started the censorship in the comic books. Pulps and comic books had to start thinking of other stories of how to take their tales and or tell them in a different way, because people thought that either they're too subjective, they're I don't know, stupid. But anyways, that was the first fall of the comic book industry. The second fall of the comic book industry for me was in the 90s, when Marvel, it almost went bankruptcy. That fall was more of economically instead of so much in terms of what society thought or say or perceive about the comic books. And then they came out of that. Now we're looking at the third fall of the comic book industry, and this time is being caused by all these society, or this young society, because at the end of the day is the young society, and how this young society is affecting older generations and their insecurities and what they think for them should be good or bad, without any regard of what the rest of the population thinks. Now, it's true that comic books appeal more to young adults and adults, especially males. But there's been throughout history, there's been a lot of women that will also enjoy comic books, because they're comic books for everyone. You don't have to buy what you don't like. If you don't like, you can make your comic about it, but that's about it. You don't like it, don't buy it. Now, unfortunately, with everybody's now scared with the social media. Now, somebody said something, and then it starts spreading like domino pieces. You drop one, and boom, 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 all of a sudden you start seeing how millions are falling down. Why? Some people ask, and a lot of people doesn't know, and the reasons sometimes are quite stupid, to be honest. And forgive me, but that's the reality. And this is the third fall of the comic book industry to me, where comic books are being affected, are being subject of scrutiny for people that either they don't like comic books, but they want to put their say into how they should be written, how they should be drawing, what should be there, what should not be there. All these social justice people and the politically correct people now have become the new comic book authority. Now, like in the past with Stan Lee, when he basically fought that with an Amazing Spider-Man, with the first book that came out without the comic book authority seal was an Amazing Spider-Man. I can't remember the number, 90 something I think, and it was about drugs. Talk about drugs, and that was the fall of the comic book authority. Now we have some creators that right now are coming out of the mainstream and are trying to create what they think for them is a good story and an appealing story for the market that they want to appeal. They're not thinking about appealing. They try to appeal to everybody. I know sometimes it's impossible to please everybody, but they try to do their best to appeal to everybody. And because they come out of the mainstream and they're doing what other people are not doing, or they're not thinking there's right, they're getting attacked. And if somebody in the mainstream does something and the people don't like, then they get attacked right away. And instead of the big companies saying, hey guys, you know what, we hear you, but we still want to please the people that do buy my books, that do enjoy my stories, that do have a say into my earnings, and that's who I'm focusing. If you don't like it, then you can go and choose any of the thousands of comic books that they are available for them. They don't have to force themselves and what they think into somebody else. Now, that is why, to me, is the third fall or the third down of the comic book industry. And just what happened with the Batman Dam, just what happened with this story from Michael Turner that got, to me, it got censorship. You may say, oh, it's just a small little changes. Well, regardless of what it was, it's different when you retouch the colors. It's different from when you get an old comic books, like an old comic book, like the old Spider-Mans and the old DC that they digitalize, and they come in and bring them back, like the facsimile editions from Marvel that are amazing. That what they do is they grab the existing pages, they revitalize with new colors, and then they polish it. But that's about it. If you want to bring up the colors, that's all cool. But don't modify the essence of the work. That, to me, is a slap in the face to the artist or the writer who did it. I know there's books or reprints of books because they changed some of the, okay, you know what, there was a typo here, or I don't think this kind of word it's proper, let's just tweak it a little bit. Okay, that is fine. That's what I'm saying. If you're republishing or reprinting a comic book and you want to change the color because when it came out it wasn't too white or it wasn't too blue, then fine. Or, oh, it came out green and it should have been yellow, fine, that's okay. But don't modify the art by itself. That to me is your slap in the face of the artist, and in this case somebody who passed away and who left a legacy of books and stories that are amazing and that a lot of people enjoy. And so that's really what I wanted to say. Please let me know if you agree with me. I know many people won't agree with me. I know a lot of people will agree with me, and that's the reality. I do hope, like when The Seduction of the Innocent came out and the Comic Book Authority came out, I do hope that the comic book industry will beat that and will come up and it will rise again to be a great what it was. And same that when they have that huge downfall in the economy and the bankruptcy and the almost bankruptcy or bankruptcy from Marvel, they came out, that I do hope that we're going to come out of this fall. Now, it may take some time because for what it looks at it doesn't look like it's going to happen in the next couple of years. It may take some time, but I do seriously hope that we come out of this and that all those people that they're sticking their noses where they don't belong, they just, you know what, just get on with your life, find something else to do, find something else that makes you happy other than trashing or requesting some changes from something, from some artist or some writer that he thought it was great for them and for the people that they enjoy. So yeah, that's all I have to say. And anyway, guys, do enjoy your time, enjoy the books, buy comic books, buy what you want and what you like, regardless of what other people say. And if you like something, and you may like Ms. Marvel, by all means, just go ahead and buy it. You may like Captain Marvel. You may like Avengers West Coast. That's all good, but stick with those books. Don't ask anybody to do what they're doing with those books to do it to somebody else's. It's not cool. And don't ruin what's fun for someone and not for you, because I'm pretty damn sure that if somebody comes and tells you to do something that you don't like or that you think is right, you're not going to like it. You're not going to enjoy it. And I think when people start realizing that that's the case, that this is not a fight for what's right or what's wrong for some small group of people, it's like, you know what, everybody does what they want. You can do your own books and everybody will be happy. Appeal to your niche of people, appeal to your niche of consumers. That's all fine. There are consumers for everybody. There are different tastes for everybody, but don't try to force that into somebody else, because that's what free speech is. That's what freedom of choice is. And right now, that is being affected in the comic book industry. Now, I do hope that DC realizes how bad they did into modifying the art the way that they did. I do hope they did do that. I do hope that they realize that that was wrong. That if there are further publications, that they're going to think twice about. They have thousands of books that they could pick for. Why would they have to pick something that they have to edit and change? It's beyond me. So I really hope that that's true, and I really hope that the industry doesn't fall too much, because if it falls too much, trying to come out of that hole is going to be tough and it's going to be hard. So that's it, guys. I think I'm finally done. All right, take care and chill books. Till the next time.